So one of the things to pay attention to in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is elements that look like they stand out slightly from the environment because they might be related to a challenge, like this one here. So if you spot something that doesn't quite seem like it belongs here, try to interact with it. It might belong to a challenge. In the environment, we have certain dig sites to discover which are called survival caches. And you could see there the glow from a distance that hints you to that there's something to discover. And we use that throughout the game to kind of attract you to spaces that might be a bit off the beaten path. For example, as you can see that the path continues up here, but as you can use our new rappelling tool to get down to this space here. Whenever you reach a new area in Tomb Raider, it is generally advisable to look around because some things might be hidden or some spaces might be in the other direction of where you were just headed, like this space here, where you then can find additional content. There are items that you can buy at merchants which allow you to open certain gates in the world. This is the lockpick, for example, or the rope ascender. And it's usually best to obtain these items as early as possible, as soon as you find them, to avoid too much backtracking later on. Looking around in the environment always pays off. One of the things that are important to look out for is these yellow markings in skulls. And you might have seen it, there was just a message on screen about a challenge tomb being nearby. So these elements are part of the visual language of our challenge tombs. If you see those, look around, there's a challenge tomb nearby. Some spaces or challenge tombs might be gated off in a way that you need a specific tool to reach them. So if you don't have this tool yet, make a mental note and try to come back later once you have acquired it. Looking for skills to buy, it is usually best for exploration to focus on the Seeker tree. That is the blue one up here, because it contains the upgrades to the survival instinct, which help you locate elements in the environment like resources or challenge objects. And if you play in hard difficulty, these skills will actually allow you to gain back a certain amount of survival instinct without compromising your achievement. Exploring the environment will yield the discovery of crypts. Whenever you spot that message that just appeared on screen, it's usually worthwhile to follow the path. You might discover a crypt. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider, when you reach a new area, it's usually best to look around, and especially look behind you where you just came from, because you might have missed some spaces in the area where you just came from. Like, for example, here, this little climbing path that you can see that leads to a cave. When exploring spaces, look for these things. These are monoliths. They look a little bit different depending on which culture they belong to. Deciphering them gives Lara good information on resource caches that are hidden in the environment. In order to decipher them, Lara has to learn ancient dialects, which she can do by reading collectibles in the environment. Sometimes when following the path of the story, it will lead you back to areas that you have passed through earlier. Maybe you had to pass through them quickly, and now you have more time to return and explore them and discover more secrets in the environment. We try to place resources contextually. So while some resources can be found pretty much in any environment, like the salvage here, certain herbs are more likely to grow in certain areas. For example, the perception-bound herbs are usually found in trees. When going hunting for specific types of animals, they are usually bound to certain types of spaces. And if you want to get more hides from a certain animal, it's good to return to the space where you met it. Like this one here, that's my favorite animal, a capybara, which is basically a giant guinea pig. I love those guys. When hunting for animals, try remaining into a hunting space for a longer time, and you might discover rare animals that appear, whose hides are important for certain crafting recipes. And you can also obtain skills that increase the amount of these rare animals that you will find. When exploring villages, it is usually good to talk to everybody, and especially to these people here, we call them storytellers. And the conversations that I have might yield information for Lara where to find more resources or even challenge tools.
Have you seen my husband or my daughter?
I don't think so. Where did you last see them?
Moving around the villages, watch out for events that happen that show you that there is conflict, because conflict usually means there is a side mission associated with it that will allow you to uncover a chain of activities for Lara that will not only yield new tools or good rewards, but also help you understand the story of the space.
Everything all right?
No, it's all terrible, as usual.
When discovering campfires, it's usually best to try to light them up and try to discover all of them, because they can be used in fast travel, which allows you to easily re-access spaces that you have visited before and gather up all the collectibles you might have missed. Merchants are an important feature in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because they sell items that in the previous games you would find arbitrarily in the world, and they can now be bought in those shops, which allows you to see which items you want to obtain and then gather resources and materials specifically for those. We really try to give you the opportunity to find more collectibles when discovering collectibles. So if you are moving through spaces and you see a collectible like this piece of wood over there that you say you want to pick up, you might actually discover then when going there that you then discover another collectible close by, which is this document here. So this way we kind of lay out a little trail of breadcrumb for you to find the collectibles in the space. These satchels here are usually very worthwhile to discover, because they reveal the locations of other collectibles on the map. The same goes for so-called archivist maps, which have the same functionality. They allow you to then have a much easier time locating all the collectibles in this area of the level.